the appetite for
Yeah.
it is so strong, and we've been so lucky that the fan base has found the podcast and leaned in with us,
Mhm.
that it's cool to see that people don't need tricks and gimmicks and heightened realities and things like that, that they want the comfort food.
The first season for me, there was just, it was so new. It was so exciting. It was so palpable, the anticipation, the excitement on set, the discovery of everything, of each other, of the town, of the new weather, and all the late nights, getting to know each other, the long talks, the wandering around these new walls of sound stages in a beach town. I mean, there's so many wonderful new smell memories, new feel memories from the first season for me. So that always does stand out.
I feel like season 3 was really fun. Haley had joined the cheerleading squad, so we were all in it together at that point. And Sophia and I really got to lean into like the Brooke Peyton like hard relationship stuff. We're fighting over Lucas, and it's sad and it's scary. And then I got to work with Cheryl Lee, who played my mom, Ellie, and that was a storyline that I really loved. And I loved working with an actress who had already been through what we were going through. She was a really important person to me during my time on One Tree Hill. So yeah, season 3 was awesome.
Yeah, 3 stands out to me a lot. And interestingly, as we've been rewatching the second season, seeing us all settle into ourselves, be a little less nervous. I just see how much fun we were having. But I don't know. It's funny because, Joy, the way you talk about certain memories, it's like I have these buckets of things I think about from the beginning. And, Hilarie, I even think about after you had left and you were working on White Collar, the first time you came home and we were at a barbecue together. And we just sat on that back porch and drank beers all night and, talk. And it was so fun to see you in person. It isn't so much the show that is the standout memory to me. It's us. It's what we were doing. Joy, it's when you got Haas and we were like, how is this dog real? He's so small. All of these things that we did together outside of work that were so special. And yeah, the nostalgia, the smells, the feelings, they're all very alive.
The most challenging storyline, I guess there's different ways to answer that question. I mean, look, at some point we ran out of ideas and Nathan had been kidnapped by the Russian mafia.
What?
And I was trying to,
Yeah, it's special.
I mean, that was challenging on the kind of level of how do I care about this? How do I make the audience care about this? How do I take this seriously and try and do something real with it? That was challenging. Yeah.
That sounds hard, Joy. I wish I was there to hold your hand. I've said it a million times. I think season 1, when our show went from our pilot episode, which was a show about a bunch of sweet kids in a small town, to being pit against other shows that were on network TV that were significantly more risque than ours. And I felt like all of a sudden we were having to walk out of showers and do more suggestive stuff than I was originally sold. I didn't know how, as a young actress, to navigate that and to create boundaries. And so that learning curve was hard, but also incredibly important and has, helped me throughout my career. So better to learn the lesson early than never.
There were all sorts of things that were complicated. It was weird for me to, be thrust into playing this girl who, much as Hilarie said, was sort of pitched to me as one thing and then, was written in episodes doing nothing but crawling around in back seats in her underwear. And I was like, I didn't sign up for this. To sort of have to figure out, as Joy referenced, how to find the reality in whatever a character is going through was a first step in learning. And then I think on top of it, really taught us not only to advocate for ourselves and other women, but to advocate for our characters.
Yeah.
So even the things that were difficult to portray on screen or felt forced by people outside of ourselves, really, I think, helped shape the people that we are today. And yeah, you know, there's certainly experiences I'd want to be handled better for other young women coming up behind us. But that's also part of the reason we're here.
I feel like I don't remember so many of them. I mean, the problem with filming a TV show with these long hours is that you don't end up watching the episodes a lot of times, and you also have to form a very short memory so that you can contain a bunch of information that you hold on to and you know it really well for about 8 days, and then you let it go. And that's you're constantly doing that to your brain. So as a result, I have a terrible memory with a lot of things, because I'll read a book and then I can go back to it 6 months later and be like, I have no idea what that book's about. It's gone.
I don't even really remember what happened in the episode, but it's like a standout nostalgia memory to me, is all of us going to Honeygrove. And, you know, watching an episode with all those kids who, you know, entered a competition to bring us to their town. And we all got to be on this little week away together. And all I remember is like there was a bus and Chris Keller showed up. I literally have no idea what happened in the episode. But I just loved being there with you guys. And I think about, you know, Joy sitting under that gazebo with you, and like, Hilarie, your hair was so gorgeous, and I don't know why I remember what I remember from that episode. Fun. But it feels nostalgic.
There are like a couple like GIFs or memes or whatever that kids will post that remind me of like fun days at work. And one of them is when Haley needs to go to the hospital while we're all in our cheerleading uniforms, and it's like you, Sophia, myself, Danielle, Bevan, and we're all like trying to get Haley in the hospital. And the nurse is being a real jerk. And we say like, whore, slut. And then Bevan says, thank you.
Thank you.
And we all spin and leave as Haley's like taken back. And I just remember that like girl gang feeling being really fun, and that feeling really good. That was a fun time.
Yeah. Oh, you just gave me such a memory. I remember that building that we shot in. It was like an old factory they converted into a hospital. And whatever year that was, it was like when Carrie Underwood's big album came out, and Kelly Clarkson's. And I remember Bevan and I would drive to work like blaring country music. Like it was fun.
Yes.
It was so fun.
Right. Oh, you know what? That reminds me too, Hilarie, say what you will about the 40s episode. I know some people love it, some people hate it, but I had a blast filming that episode. I was so excited to come to work every day and put on a wig and, you know, vintage clothes and talk like I was in his Gal Friday. I mean, what a ball.
I was coming to work during that episode on days I wasn't working to shoot photos. And for like 10 years, your caller ID photo in my phone was you like melting in that yellow dress with that vintage microphone. And finally I was like, okay, I really have to change this to a current photo of my friend.
Yes, and I got to write music. I mean, I scored that whole episode. It was so much fun.
Chad wrote that episode, and that was like a big swing. You know, that was a big risk, and it paid off. It was a cool episode. Every other show that had like gone to college had fallen apart. So why not try something new?
Yeah.
And we were really entering into the era where you almost never knew a group of friends who all went to the same college. It's just not a thing that happens. Maybe it happened, you know, when our parents were, you know, going to college, but things were different. And it felt like we got to shed this old, impractical mold, which I know is funny for people who did a show where a dog ate a heart to say, like, well, that would never happen. But the college thing would never happen. And it felt cool. We jumped it. We got to come back, and everyone had a mystery that you got to unravel through flashbacks. It was great. I loved it.
I loved being able to actually be in a really unhappy, complicated space, which is where Haley was when we came back. Haley and Nathan were in a really rough spot.
But James looked so hot. When James fell apart in season, what was that, 5?
He came back with his long hair. Yeah. We're like, who are you?
I know, so sexy. And I think that was a great opportunity for James too. I mean, we both just got to do something that we hadn't really been able to do on the show up until that time. So for an actor,
you guys got to
really
bring
exciting.
flaws and pain and angst to the two characters who had always been above it. And I think it was so human, and it was also so refreshing because, you know, there were young people that were like, well, I'm not perfect like them. And you guys got to undo a myth and then make it better with two people who chose to work on it, which is such a great story, I think, to tell. It was fun to watch. I loved showing up in, you know, the middle of this giant office and seeing what Brooke had built, and also kind of being able to, similarly to you guys in a different topic, but punch a hole in the sort of veneer that success makes you happy or means you have it easy. You know, she was really struggling and dealing with family stuff that was hard, and it was nice to remind people to, you know, look behind the curtain at the person.
I kind of appreciated the realism of Peyton coming back from that time jump because, you know, you fantasize about like getting married right out of high school, or in, you know, Haley and Nathan's case, like getting married in high school, and Lucas proposing to Peyton at a very young age and her saying, let's pause, was the right thing to do. And so being able to explore the conflicting emotions of being a person in your young 20s and, you know, thinking you're a grown-up, but you're not really a grown-up. We were all living that in real life, so it felt so much better to play that on TV as opposed to playing teenagers who were put in adult situations. Like, we were playing our real age finally, which was lovely. I hope that Peyton's still working in music. You know, as I get older and my kids get older, there really is so much joy in introducing your kids to good music and like taking them to live shows, and then also learning from your kids what cool new bands are coming up. My son's obsessed with this artist Suburban, and I'm like, tell me everything. So yeah, probably still in the music scene, I hope.
I hope Haley's still in music too, actually. I hope she's in some capacity still doing that. Yeah. And I also hope that Haley has allowed herself to have some fun, have a little bit more fun than maybe she is pretty uptight. It'd be nice to see her let loose a little.
Shake that hair.
You know, Brooke Davis is ready to take Haley James on a let loose tour. Yeah. It's funny because I feel like as Brooke aged, she really leaned into her capabilities and her, you know, professionalism and the way that she would stand up for other people. And so part of me feels like her company must still exist. I mean, it was a huge company with a lot of employees, and maybe I'm making close for the two of you in the music world. But I really feel like, I don't know, I feel like Brooke's probably like the mayor of Tree Hill or in Congress or something. I feel like once she got on the path, she probably just really went for it. She's putting those school president days to good use.
Senator Davis?
I'm here for it, right?
I think it's just the nostalgia. I think it's just, you know, we've sort of coined this phrase of comfort food, and well, obviously we didn't coin the phrase comfort food, but in relation to our show,
comfort food.
In relation to our show, I think that's sort of what it's become for people. And in a time right now when everything is so driven, it feels like we're constantly snowballing in life with our technology and all the ladders that we're trying to climb, that to be able to have a safe place to go back to for people who grew up with this show, a reminder of a time before things were as busy as they are today, and for kids who are just now finding the show, to tap back into something that was a simpler life when your feelings mattered and the conversations with people mattered, and picking up the phone and speaking to someone mattered, and it wasn't all just hiding behind this little toy in our hand all the time. I think kids more now than ever are craving that connection, and I think One Tree Hill really offers that to them. I don't think the One Tree Hill that we made can ever be, it is what it is. I mean, I think every show that is an original piece, that nothing can ever replace that.
But I do think there's an appetite for it. That's what we've learned through our podcast.
That's
honestly, the appetite for it is so strong, and we've been so lucky that the fan base has found the podcast and leaned in with us, that it's cool to see that people don't need tricks and gimmicks and heightened realities and things like that, that they want the comfort food.
People want
Yeah.
to learn by watching. They want to feel represented. They're craving real human connection and conversations about things that matter, and how to model falling in love, and how to model making mistakes and then making them better. You know, not everything has to be fantasy. While we all love that genre, I mean, don't get me wrong, like everybody has their Harry Potter house, but you know, we also want to grow together. It's really nice that our fans are saying, we still love this.
Well, we're creating a new comfort food with our show right now. That's what Drama Queens is about. We're not trying to completely recreate the same thing that existed. We're trying to take the heart from that and create a new side dish, if you will.
It's also a nice lesson for us as producers to say, oh yeah, the kind of content we believe in is what people want. That's exciting as we plan the things that this little trifecta is, you know, doing in the world. Our podcast is only the first, and it's nice to know that the things that make us feel like squishy on, you know, in our hearts make other people feel that too. We're like, cool, we're on the right track. Great.
We did it.